Samir, I am addicted. I'm committed to one person and one person only in my life right now, and that is yoga with Adriene.
Oh my! I just recommended it to my mom yesterday.
Can you believe it? She is the guru.
Yeah, she's amazing. She has so many followers. So many people recognize yoga with Adriene.
Young, white, skinny woman from Austin, Texas, is at the top of the yoga pyramid. How did that happen?
She's the Joe Rogan of the yoga world.
Yeah.
Both living in Austin.
Yeah.
Both have millions of followers.
The cream rises to the top. You know what I mean? Certainly no. It's impossible to find a yoga expert on YouTube from India or from Florida, from California. It's just yoga with Adriene. She's got the whole thing locked down. Her and that dog Benji.
Yeah, she talks about Benji in her yoga team.
I wonder if it's SpawnCon, if it's sort of what when a TV show has the advertisements embedded without you even knowing. I wonder if there's a kennel that sells little Benjis.
That would be hilarious. Or she has a deal with Choe, the pet thing, the pet food delivery or whatever.
100%. She must have that.
Yeah, because what I think is fascinating about yoga with Adriene is, she puts out new videos all the time, and there's already a huge catalog of them.
She's prolific.
Oh, yeah. And it's always like intent-based yoga. So it's like yoga for when you are looking for a restaurant to eat at tonight.
Yeah. Did you get a paper cut today? Yoga for people who have been mildly inconvenienced.
I love it. Yeah. And then she starts off with today we're going to talk about yoga for when you can't figure out exactly which pair of shoes to wear to your big date on Sunday night.
Yeah. And I'm poking fun. I'm poking fun because I watch I watch the 30-minute yogas. Hey, and everybody out there, I hope that you do something, man. We're all stuck. Maybe not stuck inside all the time, but it's tough to keep it moving because almost everything I do is still on Zoom.
Wow, yeah. I've been working a lot lately and kind of sedentary, but I force myself to go for 2 walks, one in the morning and one in the evening, and also go to the gym.
So you're in Muay Thai training right now?
No, I'm not. I would love to, though.
Yeah, because I watch some of your Instagram videos and I'm like, is this guy in a Hoist Gracie, just tussling with young, lithe Brazilian men? What are you doing?
That's final form Samir. I thought about that. Yesterday. I was like, I just need to be mounted by Brazilian boys or whatever.
Sure. No, just dominated.
Yeah,
in the octagon,
like a 22-year-old Brazilian boy, beating the shit out of me. No, I really want to do that. I got to find the time. I would do it too, though. If I could go to the gym and go to Muay Thai and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for 4 hours a day, I would do it, and I wouldn't hate it. I love that. I love that more than doing everything else I have to do during the day. Usually, not this, of course, but
sure.
No, I've just been doing a good 20 minutes of cardio work, sort of warm up, and then doing weight training for the time being.
Sure. Blasting lats.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, my gym is a few blocks away from here. It's very white.
Okay. I got you.
Still,
I'm going to pick up this heavy nautical rope. And that's my favorite. When you see the gym where they've just got the 2 big heavy ropes.
Yeah.
And you grab one with each arm and make waves across the room with those.
It's called battling ropes.
Is it?
Yes.
That's fun.
And it is a really savage workout. There's a jail version of that where you take a bed sheet, and you do the same thing.
Yeah.
You do the same kind of motion.
Oh my God. So during the pandemic, I was really watching a lot of prison workout videos. Mm-hmm. I've told you this before, but it's so motivating to me. Whenever I was down, because I don't take antidepressants, I get down and I'd be like, man, my life sucks. And then I would open YouTube and watch a prison workout video. And I was like, well, could be worse.
Yeah, honestly, the endorphin thing is real. And for people with depression, the last thing they want to do normally, whenever I was depressed, I never wanted to go to the gym. And whenever anyone told me to do that, I'd be like, get your head out of your ass.
Yeah.
But that antidepressants take 2 weeks to kick in on average. And that endorphin boost you get from just
Yeah. So here's the app for depressed boys like you, the app is that you just press the button that's like I'm depressed on your phone, and then 35 minutes later, TaskRabbit sends over a live 24-year-old Brazilian to to dominate you wherever you're at.
Yeah. That's amazing. You're at work and you're just getting humiliated.
Yeah, you got to fight them off. You'll feel better.
Yeah.
If you win.
Yeah, they're like, look, we got to do this real, like that movie, The Game. It's like you call the dogs on and that's it. It's like you're not going to, you might die.
Sure. If you lose, you've got a reason to feel sad. And if you win, hey, man, you won. Yeah, either way, you broke a sweat.
Yeah. You have like a broken arm. You have a broken arm, but you feel alive. You're like,
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's fun, man. The gym. You're doing it. I whenever I do after yoga with Adriene, I binge. I've been binging the Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah. Black Summer's the show I've been watching.
I gotta watch that.
Yeah.
What is Black Summer about, real quick?
Oh, super quick, man. It's just the bleakest, darkest, not real, but a better version of what The Walking Dead could be. So it's The Walking Dead absent all soap opera like feelings. There's no melodrama in it at all. It's just because in reality, if the zombies fast zombies started attacking you, we would immediately be friends because we would have to survive. So the characters don't have any small talk. There's no kind of like, hey, so where are you from? Or, hey, can we be friends now? Like you're in it. So that's kind of what I like about it. It's like it's stripping it down to just survival.
And it's a series.
Yes. It's all running. Everyone's running the whole time.
And how many seasons are there?
There's no Walking Dead. It's Sprinting Dead.
Sprinting Dead?
Yeah. There's no time to get depressed.
Yeah, like 28 days later.
Exactly like that. Yeah. It's on season 2. The last one just came out. That's what I've been watching on Netflix. You got a show that you've been...
Yeah, not really, actually. I haven't. I mean, there's one show that I really love, and it's called I Think You Should Leave.
What? Hell yeah. Sketch.
You love that shit, right?
You love the sketch comedy?
It's so good, man. Yeah, the guy is just fascinating, but there's this one sketch in it, and it's in season 2 right now, the first episode, and it's just mocking those shows where the prank shows of the typical show where they dress someone up in like old man costume.
This is hilarious because I asked you once what your dream was, and you were like, I want to do a prank call show. Yeah.
I love that shit.
So I watched this sketch too, and I thought about you.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's just like this dude gets dressed up like an old man, but the makeup and the costuming is so bad that it's just absolutely obvious that he's just not an old man and he's like under the costumery. And then they're trying to get him to like fuck with people in the shopping mall. And he just has an existential breakdown and he's like, I don't think I want to be around anymore. It just goes from them trying to do this prank show to the guy wanting to commit suicide in under a minute, and it's amazing.
Yeah, I like it when things go from like a rainbow to a black pill immediately.
Yeah, and I think
0 to 60.
Yeah, 100%.
Or 60 to 0.
you love the rainbow to black pill immediately. It's so good.
Yeah, man. So that's cool.
That show's cool, man. It's very funny. It's very formulaic. There's a lot of just laughs and absurdity. That's why I love that show. So
there's one sketch on that show that I, and we're not going to spend too much time on breaking down sketch shows because you're listening to Halal Cartels, and that's not what we always do. But this one sketch I thought was awesome too. Was it's a bunch of guys playing poker, and they're all like, take my wife please, joking with each other and just complaining about their wives, and it's hack what they're doing, but then one guy, like, it's so smart because he says something negative about his wife to fit in with the other guys, and then there's all these flashbacks that are just so amazing, showing his like deeply loving, rich relationship with his wife, where she's so supportive and nice and amazing, and I think it's just a great comment on sort of how truthful is your humor and how truthful are the ways that you interact with other people, rather, and like how much do you compromise who you really are to fit in with a group? Feels like the message of that sketch.
I love that. Yeah.
And yeah, I think it's like one of the most, I'm going to say like, it's like a pretty feminist sketch, you know?
Yes,
Yeah.
I love it.
What else? You've been watching some other shows too, though, right?
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, there's another one I just discovered sort of. So there's this artist named David Choe. I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with him.
Yo no sé quién es. Who is David Choe?
So David Choe was, or is still an artist, but he did a lot of street art stuff, and he had a unique style called dirty style. Just he has a unique style where everything is kind of like jagged and kind of wild, but it's dope. It was pretty dope. And what happened was he started doing a show for Vice back in the day where he train hopped with his cousin. I think his name was Harry Kim, and they would just train hop and go cross countries. They did it in China too, which is wild because of how the Chinese government is now, where like you would just be caught on camera and shit, and they would eventually just like put you in a re-education camp. But he did it in the United States, and he was doing it for Vice, and I was like, this guy's kind of annoying because he's a bit of an attention whore. He's sort of like a comic that does shtick all the time and is like just a fucking annoying comic, but instead he's just like an artist that's like, oh, I'm a fucking dirty guy or whatever, and that's kind of what he was like. So I never really liked him so much because he annoyed me. But
so dirtbag, Vice magazine, train hopping, street artist.
Yeah, and he's Korean American. He's like first generation, and that's where I'm going with this. Is like what wound up happening was back in 2008, I believe, 2007. I looked this up recently. He was offered to do a mural at the Facebook office. And even though he thought Facebook was a joke, he wound up doing it for Facebook stock. And on the eve of the IPO, his Facebook stock was valued at $200 million, right? And if he hadn't liquidated his Facebook stock at the time or whenever he did, today it'd be worth over $1.3 billion.
Wow.
Yeah. And so what's fascinating about him is that he began to do things that he always wanted to do and just throw money at them. So he said he wanted to be on the cover of Rolling Stone, and they were like, how are you going to outsell the cover with Jay-Z on it? And he was like, oh, I'll outsell that cover, and if I don't, I'll just pay the difference. And he started saying like, I want to have my own TV show. And so he told FX, I want to have my own TV show. I'm going to pay for it on my own.
So he can live his life like a Saudi Arabian prince now.
Yeah.
He can just do whatever he wants.
Yeah. So for that reason, I was also weary of watching the show because I was like, this guy annoys me. I was really just looking for something to be annoyed by, but I thought it was really interesting. He has famous people on there. He does portraits of them in real time as they tell their story, and he asks them all these questions, sort of like a mixed media show where he actually does the portrait, and it comes out really cool. He challenges himself because he says he hates doing portraits, but he wanted to do it. And what I thought was fascinating is he talks a lot. It's a lot of central, putting himself as the central theme and the central character. And it's him talking about his upbringing. And one thing he said that was fascinating to me was, you can be a first generation kid and you can do all of the things expected of you when you have really intense parents that are have these intense expectations and strict expectations of you. You can compromise yourself constantly.
Yeah, because they have a life map for you already.
Yeah.
They're like, what's up, med school? Mm-hmm. What's up? Why aren't you in AP classes right now? You should be in Latin club.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they use shame and guilt to propel you to do the things that they want. We
left a village. We worked so hard. Yeah. I was in a container for 8 months crossing the Pacific for you.
I was human trafficked so you could get a liberal arts school?
Yeah.
That was like their vibe.
You want to learn what? History? History of making money? Are you, but how about money? Are you making money? Did you make money? Also, I need grandkids.
Yep.
Immediately.
And that's the whole thing. It's just constant expectation. So you can give away your entire life and yourself and your personality and become an empty shell of a man. And then it'll still never be enough. Because then there'll be 1,000th request and you might not honor it. And then you're a piece of shit. And everything you did up to that point doesn't count.
Yeah.
And so that dements the psychology of people of my generation that were first generation. It's not across the board, though. When I meet somebody whose parents allowed them to go to some school that wasn't a business or med or like law or whatever it may be, and they're successful, I'm kind of jealous because I'm like, I could have done so much with my life had I not chased my own tail and tried to make my parents happy and had one foot in, one foot out of things.
Well, the thing is that parents are going to, you have to live after they're gone. And so ultimately, and then one day you'll be gone. Yeah. So it's like, well, after they're gone, who do you have to impress anymore? Right? Like that's what I think about with myself.
Yeah.
Is I think, well, I'm all on my, I was born alone. I'm going to die alone. So there is no one else. I'd obviously like them to be happy with me, but I think I have a different, like my father was the first one in his family to go to college, and I went to college and I got a master's degree. So I've already superseded what he did, and I think he's just excited that I'm alive and like moved out from, because my grandparents were migrant workers. So it's like upgrade, right? You know, on that side. So he's just excited for whatever I do. I've, you know, to make anybody listening feel bad, I have like a supportive dad.
No, that's good though.
You know what I mean?
Because this isn't a ubiquitous experience. We're not a monolith, you know?
Right.
And that's the thing. I would hope that was the case, because then we would all just be fucked up, like mentally and emotionally. I mean, there has to be somebody whose parents were supportive and were enthusiastic, you know? Well,
it's wild. I was at a comedy show a couple days ago, and the host is like doing crowd work, asking everybody where they're from. And there is like a table of white girls, and they're like, what are you doing in there? Like, we're English majors. Like, they just graduated from college. They're like, we're English majors. We're doing communications in the city. And then like, where they go down the line to different people. And then there was a table of like 6 Indian guys. And it was like one after the other was like, I'm a doctor. And he's like laughing at that. And it's like, how about this guy? And it's like, I'm in finance. And then how about this guy? And it's like another finance dude. And then another guy's like in computer science. So the whole table was just all, who's going to make it? And then it was like, oh, white mediocrity over here. And like, so good. And then there was like a table of white guys that were like, whatever. I don't remember what they were doing, but the host was like, dude, you girls are idiots if you don't get with these guys.
That's hilarious. Trying to set them up. That's amazing.
But I saw there, in looking at that, you know, my takeaway from that was, oh, all of these kids had parents that were like pushing them to take the really boring jobs. Yeah. But also the jobs that pay money.
Right. It's a failsafe. It's like, all right, these jobs pay money, but you have to just give up your soul and your life. At what cost? So there isn't enough money in this world for me to give up like my dreams and my hopes and stuff. I mean, there was before, because I just didn't see my dreams and hopes as an opportunity or an option. Yeah. So that's how Indian parents exist. Not all, but a good majority of them exist in this world where they're like, I hope my kid never figures out that like dreams matter more than the money, because you're going to die anyways.
Well, it's funny because your parents moved, I don't know your parents specifically, like their whole story, but they moved to the U.S. So in doing that, they manifested their dreams, right? Yeah. So like they did take risks.
Hardcore risks. And that's the best part is if I told my parents I was going to move here with $300, which I'm not that far off from when I came to New York, I had maybe somewhere a little bit more than that saved up, but they would be like, you're out of your mind, no way, you're gonna die in the streets, whatever. But my dad came to America with $300, and everyone says that, but like he really did. I think it was somewhere less than that even that he had remaining by the time he got here. And the stories of like the shenanigans they had to pull just to survive are so crazy.
Yeah, you got to buy an 8-ball, then you got to buy some lidocaine and some vitamin B. You step on that 8-ball a couple times, you find the local club, you know, you got to sell 20s.
Yeah.
You flip it, then you buy 2 8-balls.
Yeah.
Right? And then within a year,
you're at a kilo.
Yeah. I get it, man. Showing up with $300 is tough, but you can do it.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, they didn't take that route. Or fortunately, maybe, because they'd be dead and in jail.
Sure.
But yeah, it was fascinating to me growing up that they wouldn't tell me those stories, because they never wanted me to think that I could replicate that kind of hustle. They just thought I was stupid and I was like not going to be able to materialize anything good. It's because I had dyslexia and ADD and stuff.
Yeah.
But here we are, you know. literally 1,000 there, so who's laughing now?
Yeah, and those are the stories that we want to hear. You know, I want to honor my ancestors who took the risks, and I love the stories that I hear from my family that are where they did wild things, you know, or where they did something different from what was expected of them.
Yeah.
On the other side of my family, my great-grandfather came from Greece, and he showed up in Ellis Island and immediately took the train to Wyoming and was a Greek-speaking man in Wyoming and was a coal miner. So, and coal miners in Wyoming, the rest of the state is red. You know, it's like libertarian ranchers and whatnot. But in Rock Springs, the coal miners were all socialists. So I love my great grandfather to find out now that he had some class consciousness and was like, you know, I feel like I'm part of that tradition.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah,
I didn't even know that.
Right. Yeah.
Learn, like I say, every episode.
Yeah. Greek socialist coal miners in Wyoming.
Yeah, and I think, you know, there's a polarity. There's I see people who are in the Indian community that I know that grew up and never challenged their parents. They live these demented lives where they are either unhappy in their arranged marriage or unhappy with their profession, and they continually tell themselves like, well, I like comedy or I like, you know, film or whatever it may be, but I couldn't do it for a living. That's like crazy. You don't make a living doing that or whatever. And then there's people whose parents were really hands off and they're like, come from extreme generational wealth and they have houses in like the Hamptons and just the whole 9 yards. Never ever had to work for a living. They do it just to define themselves somehow. And to sort of like try and chameleon their way into real life and be like, yeah, I have to go to work too, guys. You know, no, you don't, motherfucker. You know? And those people are, at least the ones I know, 3 out of 5 of them has horrible like psychological problems. They have neglect issues where their parents were just too wealthy to even bother like taking care of them in a hands-on way. And a lot of them have drug and alcohol addiction, or they are just pillheads, usually just like pharmaceutical overlords. Those are the ones that have like the juicy like Birkin bag with the Adderall, the Vicodin.
I love this bag.
Yeah.
You talk about, I want this girl to show up every episode.
I honestly want to call her now that I keep talking about her, but there's many of them.
Yes.
Not just at her. There's numerous ones.
Uh-huh.
And they're just like pounding like Ativan or whatever it is to get them through the day. It's just quick fixes to like a long-term problem. And so it, as much as people say that money doesn't buy happiness, it is very true. It would buy me a lot of happiness because I would just go on vacation and really be happy with like the time I spent. But on a whole, on a sustainable level, it doesn't, because you need purpose. You need something to keep you going, because you get numb to the money. It's the foundation on which you came into this world, so you're just like used to it. You're not like, oh shit, we get to go to the Hamptons, baby. It's like, no, we go every year, so what?
Yeah, it's a routine.
Yeah.
The money is a tool to get you something else. So even before you have the money, you should have the vision for what you want to do with it.
Right. It's like you have the vision. You're like, I'm going to get the money. Then I'm going to buy a sequined Latin dance night shirt.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go do bachata.
Yeah. So every night I'm going to do bachata. Every day I'm going to get in the octagon with a 24-year-old live Brazilian who's going to dominate me until I become the best Muay Thai little grappler.
Yeah.
Yeah, so daytime grappling, nighttime disco shimmying.
Yeah, and romance.
Mm-hmm. Exclusively romance.
Yeah.
And with open because I'm in an open relationship. So, you know, just posting thirst traps with my Muay Thai six-pack. And my sequin Sangha.
Can we please get sponsored by a Muay Thai studio out here so me and Gabe can become fighters, Double Dragon style?
Dude, if somebody would draw a picture of us as the Double Dragon characters fighting in the streets of New York.
Yeah, whoever's listening to this, please draw me and Gabe as Double Dragon characters fighting in the streets of New York and send it to halalcartels@gmail.com. I'll find a way to get you back. I'll give you a cool barter.
Hell yeah, man. We'll take some pills out of this girl's bag and mail them to you.
You know why else learning how to fight is important? Because what happens if you get bullied by 11 to 13-year-old kids, like a whole group of them?
Oh, man.
Like, what ethically is the response? Because this has happened to me, and it happened to me once where I got off the subway and these kids were walking towards me. There was maybe like 7 to 10 of them, and they were between the ages of like 11 to 13 years old, and they were all like super hard looking, and I had my headphones on, but I didn't have anything playing.
Yes.
And as they approached me, they pointed at me, and one of them said, "Yo, let's rob this fat N-word right here." And I was like, they think I'm black? Yes, but also horrified. And I was like, what do I do right now? So I started immediately fight or flight. I was like, all right, I got to put one of them in a headlock and just start smashing his head into that park bench.
Yes.
To like really make a scene out of his like the carnage.
Yeah, beating up a child. You got to beat up a child. Beat up the biggest child in the group is what? Was that what you were thinking?
Yeah, literally. He was the biggest one. He was a shot caller. I was like, I got to put him in a headlock and smash his head into that park bench right away, like before they can take any weapons out or knives or any of that shit. Yeah. But then I was like, they're going to shoot me. If they have a gun, they're going to shoot me. They had to have had a knife or something.
Yeah.
And there was also a place where people were just off the hook getting robbed all the time. I would see it on the Citizens app. So I knew that they weren't playing, but I was like, I just have to kill this kid right now. And then I stopped myself and was like, don't do this because they'll either shoot or stab you.
Yeah.
But I did kind of want to do it. And then I felt bad about it after because I just walked into the street, almost got hit by a car, crossed the street, and then they were shouting at me from across the street. And they were like, "We gonna get your fat ass next time, fatso. Hey, fatso!" And I walked away.
Did you see them more than that one time?
No, I stopped even walking down that street.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So they're not your neighbors.
Oh, no. They do this, essentially. Repeat it. Yeah. It's a rinse, wash, repeat kind of thing. So these cops were talking about it at the bodega downstairs from my place. Because they had a rash of these, and there was the bodega guy was talking about them, like coming down the street and doing this. And the cops were like, yeah, they just get put up to it by someone else, like that's older than them, who is like, yo, go make people run their phones or like steal their phones and whatever. And then I'll give you a little cut, but you guys won't even go to jail because you're underage.
Because you're minors. Yeah,
you're minors.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have a good answer for you. I just immediately thought that if you knew Muay Thai, you could
like Krav Maga them.
Yeah. Yeah. Krav Maga. That's another one too. The massage, deadly, the sweet science. if you get stuck in a Palestinian behind the lines in the Gaza Strip.
Yeah, like as if they like accidentally wandered in there.
Yeah, I don't know how I ended up wandering outside of my illegal settlement.
Yeah. Dude, I've been there. There's no way to do that. They put up insane fences all over their quote-unquote settlement, and they put up racist signs everywhere that's just like Palestinians are like animals and shoot at them and shit. I'm not making this up.
No, I believe you.
And then they propaganda the whole place up about like they're trying to come in and break in here. We need to be on the offensive at all times. If you see them anywhere near the fence, you should just shoot at them to give them like a warning to go away. And if you hit them, it's just what it is.
Yeah, shout outs to the apartheid state.
My favorite nation.
Yeah. Here we go. So I don't know if I answered your question, but Krav Maga is the way to go with the kids.
Yeah, fair.
And don't kill children. I don't know if I need to say that more than one time. On Halal Cartels, we do not advocate for beating up children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't do it.
Like a bear spray?
That'd be amazing if I bear sprayed a bunch of children that are about to rob me. And I was like, I hope you guys like spices.
Yeah.
How about a little seasoning for your afternoon snack?
Oh no, pepper spray.
I'm dead.
Hell yeah. Why, Samir, why are all these kids crying? Oh, maybe it's the tear gas.
That's the thing. For every one person who's about to get robbed in real life, there's like 4 people who aren't, who are just hyper like scared and sensitive, and they're just lighting everyone up with pepper spray.
I watched this movie, man, and it really bummed me out. My dad sent it to me, and then and I didn't watch it right away, but then I was listening to Michael Moore's podcast, and he brought it up too. It was called Planet of the Humans, and it blew me away. So Planet of the Humans is a film about environmentalism, but it's so dark because it talks about this concept of greenwashing. Have you heard about this before?
I love it, yeah.
Hell yeah. So greenwashing, for anybody that doesn't know, is when a corporation will veil itself in sort of like fake environmentalism, right? It'll be like, when you see a label that says sustainable on your plastic bottle that is not recyclable or sustainable, and then a corporation will hire activists to or like seed money and invest money in fake environmentalist causes. So like Al Gore, he started a company with this guy David Blood. So it's like blood and gore. And
that's hilarious, man.
It's like an investment company, an investment fund that is it's like the Green Century Investment Fund, and their whole thing is putting money into sustainable things, but like instead of actually divesting from oil and gas, they just invest into like McDonald's and Coca-Cola. So instead of like Exxon, they're still investing in companies that use oil products, but they're one step removed. So they make it seem like...
And they go like, this is for the greater good.
Yes.
And then Al Gore's like, see what I was telling you? Climate change is a big threat.
Right. I'm going to take this airplane from place to place to place to continue to advocate how we need to lower our carbon footprints.
I love it. Like Larry David's wife. She used to do that. She used to refuse to fly with other people, and she would take a jet by herself. Yes. And then they'd be driving a Prius around LA. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Dude, exactly. So the greenwashing is a big deal, and like this movie it's on YouTube, but it's called Planet of the Humans, and they took it off YouTube for a couple days, and all of these environmentalists who take money from corporations were on this bandwagon, sort of character assassinating the directors of the film, character assassinating Michael Moore for producing it, and trying to say that like instead of even having a debate about the movie, they just wanted to take it off YouTube because the movie is so damning for all of the tech. So like solar panels. To make a solar panel work, you need to extract so many rare minerals from the earth, like lithium from Bolivia and cobalt from the Democratic Republic of Congo. And all of that requires like basically like slave labor or child labor. And these solar panels, you can't like recycle them at the end of their time. So it's like completely a waste to make them. Or like the wind, the turbines for wind. It's like these football field long propellers that are made out of fiberglass that you just can't recycle at the end of their lifespan either. So it takes like twice as much. I'm making up numbers now, but it takes a ton of energy and a ton of oil and gas to extract the materials you need to make wind and solar power work, and then you still don't get like enough energy out of it.
Yeah, you don't get the return that you're like desperately seeking.
So our whole format is this Rube Goldberg solution to problems where it's like, well, how do we keep drinking Coca-Cola? How do we keep driving cars? How do we keep doing all these things that are so wasteful? And like instead of cutting back on those things, we're just creating more complicated problems that down the line will take even greater technological advancements to fix.
Dude, the thing that is awesome about this also is, this has been a long time, but I worked on Pepsi, and they had a partnership with this thing called Leaders of Light, or it was actually their decision was to do this thing called Leaders of Light, and it was where in Africa they would take the empty Pepsi bottles and put this glowing shit in them, and then be like, here, now we can use the Pepsi bottles as like fake lights because they have this glow in the dark shit in them, and it's a fake light in a place that doesn't have electricity. And it was just repurposing trash that wasn't going to be effectively recycled. And then the other thing I thought was amazing was Exxon would do, they have a corporate sustainability and responsibility wing, and they would say that they're going to be more sustainable. And it's like, bitch, just stop digging gas up. It's like, the solution is not you pretending that you give a fuck about wind energy. It's that you stop digging up gas. That's it.
Yeah, man. So, and you know, why do we still have cruise lines? Like one of the Royal Caribbean cruises is the biggest polluter, one of the biggest polluters out there.
Yeah,
and they've got the biggest mega ships that pollute the most, and just the concept of like the pleasure that you can get from taking a cruise with your family versus the impact that it has on the planet.
I don't know who finds that as pleasurable. Those things are boiling toilets. They're just massive toilets. Where does the shit go? There's like 5,000 people on those cruises taking shits at the same time.
Directly in the ocean.
Yeah, it's just fucking constantly flushing into the ocean.
So the bottom of the ships, like let's say a ship ports in Boston, and the organisms that live in the harbor in Boston attach themselves to the bottom of the ship. So then that ship goes from Boston to Aruba, and then it goes from Aruba to Norway or wherever else, Somalia.
Somalia, one would hope.
One-way cruise ship to Somalia. Yeah. So, but all
that's gonna be the name of this episode.
Yeah, so you get these invasive species getting introduced to places that they shouldn't be. So like nautical COVID. Is traveling around the planet on the bottom of these ships, and then the ships are just dumping raw sewage into the water. Also, the air quality when you're on the ship is you think that it's great. You think that you're like at the front of the mast in Titanic, right? Just like with the air blowing on you. But when you're on the ship, the fumes from the engines are just everywhere. So the air quality, it's like you're smoking packs of cigarettes every day. The equivalent to that while you're on the cruise ship. So if people want to have that experience, they should just build like hotels that look like cruise ships in somewhere else, and you can take your family and hang out and just get locked on into this building for the week that you would have been on a ship. You know what I mean?
So disgusting.
And you can have unstable floors if you want, and have it tilt from side to side, so you get that seasick feeling the whole time that you're in the building.
Yeah. A lot of people do it just to like throw their wife off the side of the thing and then be like, I don't know, she went up to get a drink and I didn't see her after that. You know how many times it's happened? It's
you can. Yeah, man. If I wanted to murder people, I would take them on a cruise ship.
Yeah. Well, now you can't.
Yeah.
It's just like, Exhibit A, Your Honor.
They have video cameras now?
Everywhere? No. You just
oh, now. Oh, fuck.
Edit this out.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, those are horrible in the first place. They just seem like a nightmare. You are stuck on them. There's so many gaffes that have happened with Carnival cruises, especially where the whole cruise, like, the power went out on the cruise and the toilets weren't working or anything, and they made people shit in plastic bags above on the top deck, and then they laid out blankets on the top deck and made people sleep up there in the like boiling hot sun as they were marooned on a like massive. Dude, you should. I'll send you an article with all these mangled things that have happened.
I love that.
People routinely thousands of people get sick on them with like shit disease.
Yeah. Well, man, what a terrible PR move if it's like all we have are these McDonald's Happy Meal boxes for you to poop in.
They deny and delay too. They go like, all right, if you behave yourself, maybe you can get a McDonald's box to take your shit in.
Oh man, yeah. So everybody should watch Planet of the Humans. I'd say it's pretty bleak, but my takeaway wasn't that there's nothing that we can do. My takeaway was that we should be skeptical of corporations and that are saying that they're trying to be sustainable because they're the problem. Capital, as it now stands, you cannot have infinite growth models in a system with finite resources. Right. So that optimistic view that we can just keep expanding and moving forward and growing and making things, like there isn't that much stuff out there, man.
Yeah, you're damn right.
And then think about the human cost for the things that we have, even our phones. It's like there was the coup in Bolivia where they tried to kick out Evo Morales. I mean, all that was really over lithium. Right. That was the U.S. trying to put in a right-wing government so that we could extract more lithium from that country for our batteries.
One thing I just wish we also covered is it's so directly correlated to what you're saying. The thing that happened with Haiti, the president of Haiti.
Yes.
Did you see the developments from last night? The Miami Herald posted.
No, tell me. Tell me the latest news.
Yeah,
please.
we have a few minutes.
Yeah.
So real quick, the president of Haiti assassinated. People are making jokes where they're like, "Worry not, another U.S. installed puppet dictator person," or sympathetic puppet to, not dictator, but sympathetic puppet to the United States will be installed soon. But realistically, this thing is adding up to be a very bizarre conspiracy. They have detained Colombians and Haitians who are coming out of South Florida from Miami.
Interesting.
Yeah. And they all are saying that they work for a private security firm run by a Venezuelan expat who was very much in line with Trump's whole person he wanted in power in Venezuela.
Yes.
Yeah. And this guy's enigmatic as hell. He has a Facebook page where he just pretends that he teaches law enforcement how to kill people and shoot guns and stuff. And he, outside of that, doesn't very much talk about these contract mercenary teams of assassins or anything.
Yeah.
And he has just gone missing and has not been responding to the press or anyone who's trying to get a sense of what his connection is.
Okay, so what you're saying is that the president of Haiti, who was recently assassinated, he was assassinated. The suspects are a cabal of Colombian and Haitian mercenaries who were working under the orders of a guy in South Florida,
Miami,
who's friends with Trump, who has also just gone missing.
Yes.
And that guy, the guy who just went missing, is also really into training law enforcement.
Yes. And claims that he runs a private security firm that is basically equaling up to a mercenary Blackwater type vibe.
Yes.
But it's not officially listed in that capacity. His whole thing is that I run a private security firm for people to work for me and defend VIPs in different nations. And so the people who are being detained in Haiti right now, and I think even there may be a couple in South Florida, are saying that they worked for this guy in the capacity of defending VIPs in Haiti. And they're not coughing up the reality of being part of an assassin team, but this is what they're assuming, that they were the assassins. And the guy has claimed, the guy in South Florida, Miami,
we need to come up with his name.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
We can't keep calling him the guy.
Yeah, the guy. Yeah, yeah, and the guy who we were talking about, his name was Antonio Emmanuel Intriago Valera. Well, yeah. So what also is interesting is that I'm essentially realizing that this guy is a sloppy as hell CIA guy.
Yes.
He's a sloppy CIA boy that nobody was paying attention to, and he's just behaving like a moron in Miami. But there are plenty of these weirdos, a ton of Cuban CIA dogs that, are very butthurt about having to leave Cuba because they were part of the rich upper class that, the whole thing. So there's just like a messy CIA thing where they just are letting their guard down and doing the dumbest shit. And then the Miami Herald is calling them out.
Yeah, well, the president, he lost the last election, right? He wasn't leaving office, and so he's radically unpopular with his people. He was backed by the U.S. government, and and then he gets assassinated. And he probably got assassinated by the U.S. so that they can put somebody else into power.
Yes.
And I've been reading a little bit about the Haitian Revolution, but it is completely understudied in the United States, because we'll study the U.S. Revolution, the American Revolution. We'll study maybe the French Revolution, but the third one that has the biggest impact on the Americas was the Haitian Revolution, which is probably the dopest one and the only successful slave-led revolt in the Americas. So shout outs to Haiti for being awesome, and it sucks that you guys get so much bad press, but I'm a big fan of the struggles for liberation that have occurred in Haiti in the past, and I wish them a stable government.
And you just got to look this guy up. He looks exactly like what you would think he looks like.
Yeah, say his name one more time. We'll put it in the
his
show
name is
notes.
Antonio Emmanuel Intriago Valera. Antonio Valera. And there's an article about it in the Miami Herald. But you're right, Gabe. The reason why we don't study it is because they're horrified that it happened.
Right.
Because they're like, holy shit, these Haitians fought and died for their own fucking freedom. And they created their own nation. And so ever since they've been horny to sabotage it. They want to make it look like a failed nation purposely, to say like, look what happens when you fight for your freedom and you actually build something that you want. It'll fail every time. But it's because they want to sink it constantly. They want it to be in peril.
Yeah.
They want to impoverish it and destroy it.
And you'll hear good libs. And it's almost like a knee-jerk reaction when you bring up the Haiti or other third world countries as well. They'll be like, yeah, it's just such a shame. Their government is such a mess. Oh, it's in shambles. And it's like, as opposed to what? Like, I don't want, at least they're running their own country.
Yeah.
You know? What is the alternative? I don't want a peacekeeping mission to go in there, and peacekeeping in air quotes, to pacify, which means, do genocide to the local people. Let Haiti cook.
Yeah, hell yeah. And stop interfering with them. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well.
So, hopefully, maybe we'll do some more research on Haiti before we talk about it again on Halal Cartels.
Yeah, I just had to say that. But.
Yeah. Well, I've started listening to the Revolutions podcast, so I'm on episode 1. I just finished that one on Santo Domingo, whatever the origins of what is the Dominican Republic in Haiti, back when it was first
Hispaniola.
Exactly. So, well, hey man, we did it.
Hell yeah. Another episode in the can. Thanks to all the listeners. Please like, comment, subscribe, review, and share this with anyone who you think would enjoy it.
Yeah, and we love fan art. So if you want to draw pictures of us as double dragon characters, we'd love it.
Yeah, and if you have any comments or concerns or questions or anything, or just want to throw us some emails, hit us up at halalcartels@gmail.com, or feel free to DM us. I'm at SAMEERMON on Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah, and I'm Gabe Pacheco, Gabe Pac, GABEPAC1 on Instagram. And we have a live show you can come to every Wednesday at 9:30 at Pete's Candy Store in Williamsburg. And I also have a show that is every second and fourth Saturday at Bluebird Cafe in Prospect Lefferts Garden. It's called Big Break, and that is at 8:30 every second and fourth Saturday in Brooklyn. Big Break. So we love you, and we'll see you next week.
Peace.